All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into something I think secretly everyone kind of wants to know about,
Hmm.
becoming a famous photographer.
Right.
Who hasn't thought about, their work being seen around the world, or,
Absolutely.
what is that path like
Yeah.
to becoming this, a famous photographer?
Right.
And we're going to base this deep dive on this podcast episode called The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Famous Photographer. And it's really interesting
Okay.
because some of the tips are very practical and good and, make a lot of sense.
Right.
But then some of them are just like completely out there.
Interesting.
But before we get into all of that, I think it's really important to kind of just think for a second about
Yeah.
why is fame so alluring in the first place?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Like, what is it about,
Yeah.
especially for creative people?
Yeah.
What is it about that seems so...
I think especially for creatives, it's that it's almost like the ultimate validation of your artistic talent.
Right. Like you've made it.
You've made it.
If you are famous.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, let's start there, and then
Okay.
we'll kind of work our way through some of these tips.
Yeah.
The first one, kind of obvious, is mastering the craft. Like you have to actually be good at what you do.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You
that's
can't just be famous for no reason.
right.
And
Right.
and our source really stresses that, like, you have to know the basics. Composition, lighting, like
Those are your building blocks. You can't build a house without a foundation.
right. And then experimenting with different styles.
Yeah, I think that's huge too.
Because you might be drawn to, street photography,
Yeah.
but maybe you're actually really good at
Okay.
landscape photography.
Or even like macro photography. Who knows?
Yeah, or, and then there's all those different techniques too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like the source talked about.
Like thinking about dodging and
Dodging and burning.
color grading.
Oh, color grading is essential.
Wow.
How to retouch.
Frequency separation.
Yes, frequency separation. That's a good one.
All this stuff that
Yeah.
I don't know anything about, but it sounds very technical.
Oh, it is. It is.
So it's not just about,
Right.
taking a good picture.
It's taking a good picture and then being able to make it.
Yeah.
Like phenomenal.
Right. Elevating it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the next step would be, I guess, to have a really good portfolio.
Oh, absolutely. Your portfolio is...
Like if you want to get your work out there,
It's like your calling card.
it's what you're going to use to
Have a good portfolio.
right, get noticed by galleries, by magazines.
So you have a good portfolio. You've
Yeah.
mastered your craft. What are some of the, I guess, more traditional
Okay, so I guess
pathways to recognition?
like more traditional routes would be things like
Yeah.
getting published in magazines,
Yeah.
winning contests,
Mhm.
exhibitions, having your work in galleries.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's all about building a reputation step by step.
And networking, right?
Networking is huge, absolutely.
That must be
Like go to industry events,
a big part of it.
reach out to photographers that you admire, connect with other photographers.
Yeah.
Building those relationships is key.
So it's not enough to just
Right.
be good.
Exactly. You have to know people and
get yourself out there.
get your work out there.
Yeah.
Network.
Yeah.
Network.
And then they talked about finding your niche, which I thought was really interesting.
Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah.
Like, what is it that makes your work
Yeah.
stand out from everybody else?
You need something.
Is it a particular style?
Yeah.
Is it,
A particular subject
a
matter.
certain subject matter that you
They give some really good examples in there,
photograph?
like surreal photography, astrophotography, and then even just like capturing unique human emotions.
Yeah.
Like that's where you develop a recognizable style,
Oh, right. So it's like, oh, that's so-and-so's
Right.
work.
Exactly.
Right.
You see it and you know who took it because it's
Yeah, you know exactly who it is because you're
Yeah.
so familiar with that style.
holy.
And then they also talked about teaching, which I thought was really interesting.
Oh, teaching is a fantastic way to build authority and share your knowledge.
Yeah. Is that something that
It's like giving back to the community.
you've seen to be effective
Yeah.
for photographers?
Absolutely. And it also helps you really solidify your own understanding of the craft.
Right. You really have to
You have to know it inside and out to teach it.
know what you're talking about.
Exactly. You can't fake it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
But, we live in the digital age, and I think that
Oh, yeah. Completely changes the game.
that really changes the game for
Yep.
photography. So I'm curious what our
Mhm.
source had to say about that.
Well, they basically said that social media is everything now.
Really?
Like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Yeah.
Those are your new galleries.
Oh,
Those are the
why?
places where you can get noticed
Alright.
and potentially launch yourself to fame.
So it's not so much about having your work in a gallery anymore. It's
Yeah.
more about having it on
It's about building a following online.
Instagram.
Yeah, engaging with your audience.
But how do you even get noticed? Like,
That's the million-dollar question, right?
there are millions of people posting photos
Well, they talk about the importance of
every day.
consistent, high-quality content, of course. You
Yeah.
have to be using relevant hashtags,
Okay.
And then they talk about storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just post pretty pictures anymore.
Interesting.
You have to give people a narrative, give them something they can connect with.
So, like, writing good captions and
Yeah, captions are everything.
using the right hashtags
Hashtags are huge.
and telling a story with your
Yeah, and it's not just about aesthetics. It's about building a community around your work.
photography.
Right. Responding to comments,
Well, yeah.
maybe running contests, doing Q&As, things like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Make people feel like they're a part of something.
And collaborations.
Oh, collaborations are huge, yeah.
They talked about collaborations, too.
Working with other creators,
Mhm.
brands, models.
Right.
It's a fantastic way to reach a wider audience.
Yeah.
Cross-promote, but you have to be selective.
Okay.
Find partners who align with your values and your style.
Okay, I like that.
It's not just about chasing the biggest names.
Right, yeah, quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there
Yeah. It's a whole new world.
in terms of just like
Right.
the digital landscape.
Yeah, ever evolving.
And they also talked about something that I find kind of fascinating and a little bit scary, which is like the rise of AI and
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
technology and photography.
Yeah, we're seeing these incredible advancements in AI-powered editing tools, even AI-generated images.
It's kind of crazy.
It's
Or
mind-blowing.
you think that we can just
It's the future, though, isn't it?
use AI now
Yeah.
to take pictures.
And I think some people might be intimidated by that.
Right, or edit pictures.
But I think it's also an opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a chance to really push those creative boundaries.
Right, yeah.
What if you could combine your unique vision with the power of AI?
Yeah.
Create something truly spectacular.
Like, it could be this whole new art form.
Right.
Right.
It's exciting.
It's pretty cool.
It is.
Okay, so now for the fun part.
Yeah, let's do it.
The wild and wacky ways to become a famous photographer.
Okay, I'm ready.
Because the source had some pretty crazy
Lay it on me.
suggestions in here. And I'm just curious to get your take on them.
All right, shoot.
So the first one, maybe the most daring one, is to become a paparazzi sensation.
Oh, my gosh.
Right. Like, you're out there.
That's a risky business.
You're taking pictures of celebrities. You're selling them to the highest bidder.
But I guess if you snag the right shot at the right moment,
Yeah,
you can be looking at a pretty hefty payday.
that's true.
But honestly, it's a very specific path, and I think it's ethically challenging.
Right.
I'd much rather focus on building a sustainable career based on my own creative vision.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
How about you?
No, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
What about photographing extreme adventures?
Oh, now that's something I can get behind.
Right. Like, you're
Yeah.
going out there, you're documenting like a volcano
I love that.
erupting or
There's something captivating about those images.
a deep sea expedition or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty crazy.
It's pushing the limits of what's possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're showing people the beauty and the power of nature.
It's definitely a niche
Right.
market.
It is
I thought-
a powerful one.
Yeah, I guess it could be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Totally.
And then there's this one that I find a little bit ethically
Oh, no. What is it?
questionable,
Okay.
which is faking it till you make it.
Oh, my gosh. That's a classic.
Like pretending that you're this big shot photographer before you actually are.
I've heard stories about that.
Have you ever encountered that in the industry?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard stories.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think it's a really risky game to play.
Right.
Building a reputation based on authenticity
Yeah.
and genuine talent that's far more sustainable,
That's true.
in the long run.
And plus, people can usually tell if you're faking it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Photography community is pretty tight-knit.
Right.
Word gets around.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Okay, this one's a classic, though I don't know how practical it is.
Okay.
Marry a celebrity.
Oh, God.
Instant fame, right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Right. Like,
Yeah.
you just marry somebody famous, and then all of a sudden you're in the spotlight.
Instant recognition.
Yeah.
But, it does highlight the power of association, I guess.
Right.
Like networking with influential people
Yeah.
can definitely open doors.
Okay, so maybe there's a
Yeah.
little bit of value in that one.
Maybe a grain of truth there.
Even though it's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
What about pulling off a massive stunt to get
Oh,
noticed?
okay. I like where this is going.
Like projecting your photo onto
Yeah.
a landmark building
Yeah.
or launching your prints into space.
All right. That's pretty out there.
Like, that's pretty crazy.
But I kind of admire the audacity of it.
Yeah.
Thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
It's about making a statement.
Attention grabbing.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't always have to be something that grandiose,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
What if you just stumbled upon some lost historical photos?
Oh, yeah.
Something truly significant.
That could be pretty big.
Yeah, that could make headlines.
Yeah.
Right.
Or even,
Or imagine if you could use your photography to make a statement about a social issue that you cared about.
yeah, that's a good point.
Document a protest movement or a humanitarian crisis.
Yeah, that's actually really
Photography have that power, right?
good idea.
Yeah.
Because
It can raise awareness.
it can inspire change.
For sure.
Yeah,
Right. And it's for a good cause.
exactly. So it's not just about fame, it's about making a difference.
Okay, so we've
I
covered
bet a lot.
a lot of ground here.
Yeah,
I think we should probably take a break.
Sure.
And then we'll come back
it's
and
good.
we'll delve into this a little bit deeper.
All right, I'm excited.
We'll do it.
We'll be right back. Okay, so we've been talking about all these different ways to become a famous photographer,
Right.
but I kind of want to shift gears for a second and talk about
Yeah.
what success actually means.
Well, that's a good point.
Because it's
yeah.
easy to get caught up in the chase for fame and recognition,
Absolutely.
especially in a field like photography where
visual. Yeah.
it's so visual and it's so,
Mhm.
out there for everybody to see.
Right.
But, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
the real satisfaction, I think, comes from the
I think so too.
creative process itself.
It's that feeling of creating something,
Right.
capturing a moment.
It's about the joy of taking the picture.
Yeah.
It's about telling the story.
Telling a story with your lens.
It's about
Expressing your unique perspective.
expressing your unique perspective.
That's something that doesn't depend on having millions of followers.
Right.
Or getting your work displayed in some fancy gallery.
So how do you cultivate that
That's the question.
inner sense of success?
That's a good one.
Like, how do you get to that point where you feel
I think a lot of it comes down to finding your voice
good about your work?
as a photographer.
Yeah.
What do you want to say with your photography?
Right.
What emotions do you want to evoke?
Yeah.
What stories do you want to tell?
It's about more than just the technical skill.
Right. It's about going beyond the technical proficiency
Yeah.
and tapping into your own personal vision.
So earlier we were talking about those more unconventional
Oh, yeah. Those are fun.
paths to fame.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, do you think there's any real value in those?
I think some of those outlandish ideas can actually spark some pretty innovative thinking.
Okay.
Like, take the example of extreme photography.
Okay.
These photographers are pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Right.
They're capturing these incredible moments in some of the most challenging environments on Earth.
It's like they're documenting the world in a way that most of us
Never
could.
And there's a certain fearlessness to it,
Yeah, there's
a deep respect for nature.
a certain adventurous spirit to it.
Mm-hmm.
We also talked about multimedia art, like blending photography
Oh, yeah, like photography meets AR, VR, all that.
with augmented reality or virtual reality.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a legitimate art form, or is it just
I think it has tremendous
begin
potential.
the fad?
We live in a world where technology is constantly evolving,
Right.
and art is evolving right alongside it.
So it's like you're adding another layer.
Yeah, you're not just showing people a photo anymore.
Ugh, it's so-
You're inviting them to step inside your world,
Right. It's like this immersive experience.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
It's about pushing the boundaries,
That's really cool.
blurring the lines between art and technology.
They also talked about becoming the go-to photographer
Oh, niche down, niche down, niche down.
for a very specific niche.
Yeah, like underwater weddings or pet portraits with exotic animals.
Right. Like something really
Something super specific.
specific.
Yeah.
Do you think that works?
I think it's a brilliant way to stand out
Okay.
because you're not only honing your skills in that particular area,
Right.
but you're also becoming the expert,
Yeah, you're like
the go-to person for that type of photography.
the underwater wedding photographer.
Exactly.
Right.
And in a world where there are millions of talented photographers,
Yeah.
specialization can be your key to success.
So you're kind of like carving out your own
You're carving out your own little corner of the market.
little corner of the market.
Exactly.
We've talked a lot about skill and technique
Mm.
and vision,
Vision is key.
but there's one element that we haven't really talked about, which is luck.
Ah, yes, the elusive element of luck.
Right. Like sometimes it feels like you just have to be
Sometimes it feels like that.
in the right place at the right time.
Right place, right time.
And you get that shot that
She
goes
knew.
viral.
And then, boom, you're famous.
And suddenly you're famous.
It happens.
Do you think luck plays a big role?
I think it's a combination of preparation and serendipity.
Okay.
You have to be ready,
Mhm.
skills honed, camera at the ready.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to be open to those unexpected moments.
Yeah, like
Those moments of chance
Mhm.
that can change everything.
Chance encounters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's about taking risks,
Okay.
putting yourself out there,
Mm-hmm.
trusting that the right opportunities will come your way.
So it's not just about being good.
It's not just about being good.
It's also about
It's about being ready.
being ready
And that moment comes in.
And a little bit of luck never hurts.
Yeah, a little bit of luck.
Right.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
We have. It's been a great conversation.
There's still more to explore.
Oh, there's always more to explore.
So stay tuned
Stay with us.
as we continue our deep dive into the world of photography.
And the quest for success.
Are we right?
We'll be right back. And we are back for the final part of our deep dive.
I feel like we've covered so much.
I know, right? Photography and the quest for recognition.
Yeah,
It's been really interesting to sort of break down
absolutely.
all these different aspects
Yeah.
of, what it takes to become a photographer and to
Yeah.
get noticed. And
And all the different paths you can take.
yeah, and, I think it's easy to get caught up in that idea of fame.
Oh, for sure.
Especially, you see all these photographers out there with millions of followers and you think, oh, that must be...
It seems so glamorous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it seems so glamorous. Like, how do I get there?
Mm.
But as we've been talking about,
Right.
there's so much more to it.
So much more.
than just those external...
It really is about the journey
Yeah.
and about the creative process and the joy
Yeah.
of capturing those moments,
Absolutely.
sharing your perspective with the world.
So I guess, like, for someone just starting out,
Yeah.
what advice
This is what I get.
would you give them?
I think the most important thing is don't be afraid to experiment.
Okay.
Just try different genres.
Yeah.
Play with different techniques,
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of
See what speaks to you, what sparks that creativity.
click.
Exactly.
Right.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's how you learn,
Right.
right?
Right.
Every great photographer has a whole stack of failed photos
Right. They're
that
the
taught them valuable lessons.
learning experience.
Exactly.
We also talked about studying the work of photographers
Oh, absolutely.
that you admire.
I mean, immerse yourself
What kind of
in the work of
thoughts
masters.
gain from that?
Analyze their composition, their use of light, their storytelling techniques.
But it's not about
Right.
just
Right. It's not about
copying them.
It's about understanding the principles
Right. It's about
behind their work and then applying those to your own unique vision.
getting inspiration from it
It's
and
that-
developing your own style.
Finding your own voice.
Yeah.
And then, don't be afraid to seek feedback
Okay.
from other photographers, from mentors.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Having a fresh perspective can be really helpful.
And I think also something that's important to remember is that
Yeah.
building a successful career in photography
This is key.
takes time
It takes time.
and it takes persistence.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
So don't get discouraged
Don't give up.
if you don't see results
Keep honing your craft.
right away.
Keep putting your work out there.
Yeah.
Keep believing in yourself.
It's a journey.
It is.
Right.
It's all about the journey.
Okay, well, I think that's a really good place to wrap things up.
Yeah, I think so too.
So to kind of sum up everything that we've talked about,
Hmm.
photography is this incredible art form.
It is.
It's a way to connect with the world.
Just connect with people.
It's a way to share your unique perspective.
To express yourself.
And it's a journey of self-discovery. So as you embark on your photographic journey,
Mhm.
I want you to keep these things in mind.
Keep creating.
You experiment.
Keep exploring.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Find your voice.
Find your voice, and most importantly, keep creative.
The world needs your vision.
Because the world needs your vision.
Your story.
Your story.
Your unique perspective.
And that's it for this episode of The Deep Dive.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.